What's going on, boys and girls? Today is part two in a little series that I'm doing where I'm trying to teach you how to exercise on your own. There is a part one video. I wish you would go back and watch that. It's about 15 minutes long, so I know it sounds long. You can pause it, come back to it, but there's a lot of really important, useful, free information in there, so please go back and watch that. In that video, I discussed briefly the fact that there are two major types of exercise that I want to talk about. There's a lot of different types of exercise, a lot of stuff in the middle, but traditionally there's two major types. On one side, we have this thing called cardio. Sometimes people call it aerobic training, endurance training. We're trying to improve stamina. We're targeting the heart, lungs, blood vessels, all that kind of stuff. Over here, we have strength training, which is also known as resistance training. Sometimes people do things like push-ups, pull-ups, lunges, squats. Sometimes people lift weights. Sometimes people use other equipment. But the main goal of this is to get stronger. We're targeting the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, and the bones. You see how they're different. This is anaerobic. This is aerobic. This is mostly we're dealing with oxygen, trying to get the blood to move around. Over here, we're just trying to overcome a resistance, get your body stronger. There's a lot of stuff in the middle. We're going to talk more about that later. But these are the two major types. They're both important, so don't get lost in all that. Some people try to argue one's better than the other. I am going to focus a little bit more today, especially, and we get going on this, on strength training, because they both do a lot of the same things. If it were up to me and you're limited on your time and you're older and maybe you're out of shape, strength training is what I would put on the schedule. I would not put on the schedule cardio, not right now. Well, I do want to talk a little bit more really quickly about cardio. It's really, really important that you try to move your body as much as you can every single day. The easiest, lowest hanging fruit is walking. We take walking for granted. I used to take walking for granted too. I thought nobody needs to do this unless they're really out of shape. But then, when I was about 30, I climbed my first mountain with a good friend of mine in Colorado. All I did was walk up a 14,000 foot mountain. Shouldn't be that hard, right? I was in pretty good shape. It kicked my butt. I had a whole new respect for just walking on 2 feet. So if you're not currently doing any exercise, I want you to start walking first. That is the easiest thing that you can do, and hopefully you can walk. If you cannot walk, there are other things that you can do as well. But hopefully you can walk. Try walking on your street. Try to set aside at least 10 to 30 minutes every single day, or as many days of the week as you can fit into your schedule. But walk flat. Walk on flat ground in your neighborhood if that's safe. Do that. If that's too easy or if it's too boring, try walking faster. If that gets boring, try walking somewhere else in your town that's pretty. If that gets easy and or boring, try walking uphill. You walk uphill for a while, you get better at it. Try walking faster uphill. When that gets easier, try putting on a back pad or adding a little weight and doing that safely. But you see, you can never outgrow walking. People think they can, but you can't. I do want to say I would argue against trying to run, especially if you're heavier, you're out of shape, it's been a while, you're older. I would start with walking first. But this is all cardio, conditioning, stamina work, endurance work, aerobic work. It's important. You need to be doing it often. But we're going to talk specifically more about strength training, because strength training is where people get in trouble. Strength training is not something that most people do. And it probably, arguably, I want to be careful saying this, but it probably has more benefit. It probably is a little bit better if you were to look at both of them. But both of them are important and both of them are needed. We're going to talk more about that. So let's explore strength training, or what's called resistance training, getting stronger. It's all the same thing. But what do you think of when I say those descriptions? You know what I think of? And this is coming from me. I'm a 48-year-old male who's been lifting weights since I was 12. I've worked 20 years as a personal trainer. When I hear those words, I still think of a young male who lifts weights and is trying to bodybuild. That's what I think of. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people think that. And honestly, I think that is the root cause of why most normal people do not do strength work. We think it's just for young males, and it's not. It's for everybody. It's actually for men, women, and even children these days. It's more important as we get older, as time goes on, that we have a decent level of strength. Look, we're not trying to be a bodybuilder and eat a bunch of protein and be a weightlifting champion. It has nothing to do with that. You don't even have to lift weights if you don't want to. You could just squat down on your couch and get back up a few times a week. You could push and pull something, carry heavy groceries to your car. All of those are forms of resistance training exercise, strength training. You do those and you get stronger. How much strength do we need? It's different for everybody. Most people don't move that much. Most people, I would argue, don't even need that much strength, but you probably need more than you have right now. And it doesn't require a lot of work to get it. I'm going to talk about this more in a minute, but you're going to limit to about 3 exercises a week. If that's all you want to do, that's all you would need to do for a lifetime, and you'll get the basic stuff that you need from that. So I don't want to scare anybody thinking that you're going to need to turn into some workout person, buy a bunch of special clothes and all. No, that's the problem. That's keeping normal people from doing it. But all I know is this: as we get older, the one thing, we're trying to keep ourselves from being bound to a chair or bound to a bed. And I have watched this for the last couple of years firsthand, every single day, every single weekend. When you lose the ability to get out of a chair, that is squatting. Squatting is when you get down on the toilet, get down on the couch, get down in the chair, get down in your car seat, and you get back up. That's a form of squatting. If you can't squat anymore, you now require nursing help. You now may require, if your kids or you don't have any kids, if they can't help you at the house, then you have to go to a facility. It all comes down to squatting. And all you have to do is just squat on a regular basis and try not to fall. But a lot of the reason people fall is because they lack coordination and balance and strength, and they end up falling. Their bones are brittle and they break. When you do squatting on a regular weekly basis, you could strengthen your bones, you could strengthen your coordination, you could strengthen your balance, and just have overall better coordination, strength, and confidence, and live a longer and healthy life. And that's what I'm trying to do, is help you do that. So here we go. This is video 2 in a little series that I've been doing where I'm trying to teach you how to exercise on your own. This is my top 10 principles of strength training. This especially applies to beginners, people that haven't exercised in a long time, or you don't want to be exercising all the time in the future, which is most people, and it's perfectly fine. Rule number 1. Every single workout that you do, every single strength training session is going to be a full body or total body workout. You're going to work out your entire complete body, upper body, lower body, arms, legs, core, everything. No bodybuilding splits. Bodybuilding splits is where you split up your body part. One day you work out this part of your body, on another day you work out another part of the body. There's nothing wrong with it. It has its time and place. I did it when I was younger. The reason I don't want you to do it is because it wastes a lot of time. So I want you to focus on full body workouts every single time. Okay, so moving along. From the last video, I mentioned that I want you to keep your workouts short. There's a reason for that. I want you to limit how long the strength training session is to no more than 30 minutes or less. The reason being, the biggest obstacle, the biggest excuse most people have for not exercising consistently is they don't have enough time. But most people can learn to find 30 minutes a couple of days a week. But this leads to rule number 2. Within that 30 minutes, you're going to limit how many exercises you do to no more than 4. I would suggest 2, 3, or 4 seems to be the sweet spot. Yes, you could do more later on, but if you pick the right exercises, that's all you really need to do. I do it often. Now, of those exercises, you need to make sure every single time, this is important, this is the second part of it, you need to include one squat. Everybody can do a squat. There's lots of different versions. I'm going to go over those more later. You're going to do one upper body push and one upper body pull. So that's 3 different movements. Now you can combine these movements like a squat and a row together, and that would only count as one exercise. But you're going to squat every time, you're going to push every time, and you're going to pull every time. Now I haven't talked about core yet, and this is the last little part of this. Now, core is important. A lot of people want their midsection, their stomach, their abs, whatever, your six-pack, whatever you want to call that. Most people want to do something for that. And the reason being is most people have body fat on that area. Most people are not happy with the way their midsection looks. And I understand this. Most of that will be diet. It's not going to come down to exercise. So focus on diet, especially lowering your calories. That's going to help the most with that. But when it comes to strength in this area, we need to make sure that you have a minimum strength standard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, we're going to talk about a little test that I want you to do to see how strong and how much endurance your core has. Because if you don't have enough, then you're going to need to do some core every single workout. If you have enough, then we're going to move on and you can do more of that later if you want to. So we're going to do a little play test right now. Don't let that scare you. I want you to grab your phone, find your stopwatch, and we're going to get down on the ground. I want you to set your phone right here on the ground, I'm going to give you 3 versions of a plank. You pick which one you want to do. The first one's going to be the easiest, the second one a little harder, the last one will be a little harder. So the first version will be here. My butt is squeezed, my body is straight. If you bend down this way or this way, that's it. That's where you stop. So you've got to stay straight the whole time. The second version, same thing. You're going to be on your elbows, butt squeezed, body straight. If your body goes up or down at all, that's where it stops. The last one, you lay on your back, squeeze your butt, ankles together, point your toes, and have your arms up here. If you move from this position at all, that's over. So I want you to start the timer whenever you're ready. Count it. You're trying to get over a minute, but don't worry about it. If you can only get 10 seconds, that's okay too, but make a note of that.